sparking a lot of outrage. This video that came out of what can only be described as a modern-day lynching of 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia. Now, this happened back in February, but the video just came out, and what is really shocking when you see this, and I want to warn you,
it's so graphic and disturbing.
So graphic, but what is shocking here is not only what happens, the actual event. Ahmaud is jogging down the street. This white pickup truck cuts him off, and he gets into a confrontation with two men who are in the truck. And one of them, the one he's wrestling with, has a shotgun. He fires it at least 2 times. I believe it is 3, actually. And Ahmaud ends up getting hit. He falls down in the street, and he ends up dying. Now, the 2 men involved there, the one he was wrestling with and the one who was in the bed of the pickup truck, have not been charged, have not been arrested, nothing. Why is...
And they know who they are.
They know exactly who they are. And one of them used to be, worked with the DA's office down there. So why haven't they been even brought in by police and charged with anything? And that is what's sparking outrage and some demonstrations.
Shocking that they haven't even been brought in.
The man who is on this case for the family, for Ahmaud's family, is attorney Lee Merritt. Now, tell everyone, if you haven't heard, the story that they have given police, which apparently was good enough for them to not be arrested, but it is outrageous to me, their version of what happened here.
I want to tell you all the first story that law enforcement gave my clients. They called the family of Ahmaud, and they told him that he was involved in a burglary, and that during the course of that burglary, the homeowner used deadly force to subdue him. Obviously, that's not what happened in that video. They later changed the story from during the course of a burglary to suspected of a burglary, because he looked into the windows of a home that was under construction. And so he was pursued. It's important to note the person who's recording the video is one of the pursuers, William Bryant. He also has a gun. He's also cutting off Ahmaud from being able to escape. They stop all his avenues for escape, and they confront him with a shotgun. And Ahmaud does the only thing left for him to do when you have fight or flight options, and your only flight options are cut off. He fought for his life, and he fought bravely, and unfortunately, he was killed.
So even if he was now, and the family says he would do this, he jogged in that neighborhood regularly. He'd go out for a morning jog, and that's what they say he was doing. But even if
he committed a burglary, he's out of the house, even in a stand your ground state, that means on your property. Once you're out and about on a public road.
Who are they to be driving around with weapons, policing the neighborhood?
So I wish I could make it make some sense for you or for your listeners. This won't ever make any sense to anyone outside of South Georgia's prosecutor's office, apparently. But what they alleged, at least, they didn't avail themselves of the stand your ground law. This was the first time that I've seen a citizen's arrest statute used. They still fell according to this really kind of horrible citizen's arrest statute, because it deputizes the entire population to go out and pretend to be cops. But under that statute, you have to witness a crime taking place. You can't just suspect your neighbors who are jogging of committing a crime and force them to stop at gunpoint. At that point, they were committing a crime.
The 2 guys who were there in the pickup, were they connected to the home that Ahmaud allegedly looked into?
No. No way connected to that home whatsoever.
So if they're not connected to the home, they don't have a dog in the fight.
So there's a very unique citizen's arrest statute in Georgia, which again, it deputizes the entire population. If they observe a crime, or if they have immediate knowledge of a crime, take, for example, if they heard a gunshot, looked over and saw a body drop, and there was a man with a smoking gun, they can arrest that person as a citizen in Georgia.
So when can you use deadly force?
You can use deadly force when you're threatened with deadly force, or when someone else is threatened with deadly force.
What is the argument that he had any ability to use deadly force such that would justify a shooting?
And what they're saying is, well, he had our guns because we brought guns to this fight, and he almost got the best of us, so we had to use deadly force to stop him from taking our guns from us.
Lee, what you said is stomach churning, and I know that you are doing everything you can down there. What is now? They are talking about convening a grand jury now.
Yeah. So they have passed the puck down to the grand jury. The Georgia Supreme Court suspended the grand juries due to the coronavirus. They're supposed to reconvene in mid-June. We don't have to wait for a grand jury to be convened. The district attorney can issue an arrest warrant right now and have these men picked up. And that's what we're demanding, that the law enforcement community stop what they're doing right now, stop the debate, stop the conversation, stop the press release, and go arrest these men and then pick the conversation back up.
Why does this need a grand jury? You have video evidence of what happened there. And Lee, we are out of time and we've got to wrap this up, but it's worth mentioning that one of the men that was in that white pickup truck used to be an investigator for the DA's office. So I don't want to say that there's corruption going on here, but it smells of cronyism at the very least.
Yeah, no, there's corruption going on here. He's a 30-year lawman. And that's the reason why he hasn't been prosecuted. That's the reason why his son hasn't been arrested. And it's unfair. And those who are complicit in covering up for him should be held accountable as well.
And by the way, Lee, I think I just want to button this up. They didn't find anything on Ahmaud's body in terms of anything that he may have taken from that place.
Nothing. They didn't find anything in terms of stolen paraphernalia. They certainly didn't find any form of a weapon, not a toothpick, not a hand grenade.
So basically, this guy was jogging, may have looked through a window and got murdered, got killed.
May have.
That's right.
Ugh.
Jay-Z and Alicia Keys, Meek Mill, Yo Gotti, and several other Rock Nation artists who are incensed at what they've seen happen in Georgia, like much of the nation. They're talking about the Ahmaud Arbery case. And this is the 25-year-old young man who was unarmed. His family says he was out for a jog there in Georgia when he was gunned down by Travis McMichael. Now, Rock Nation sent an open letter that Jay-Z signed, Alicia Keys, and everyone else I mentioned signed this, demanding that Georgia get them a swift and fair trial for the McMichaels, but one that ends in a felony conviction for the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. And they say they will, stand for nothing less. They're demanding that Georgia's justice system bring them into court as soon as possible. Now,
well, they are, but they have been arrested.
So they're asking for DA Darden to recuse himself, which he has come out and done. They're asking for a new prosecutor to be appointed to this case because there was a connection between Darden and Gregory McMichaels, because McMichaels was a police officer at one time, so they knew each other. And they're just also asking for justice to be served in a speedy trial because they quote that Georgia is the home of Martin Luther King and some of the best and worst times in the civil rights movement, and they're looking forward, for a conviction to come down. That's the next step.
Georgia asked for the Department of Justice, asked the feds to step in and take care of this and handle this case. There are so many eyes on this.
Because it had been sitting in Georgia. Charles, look, the thing that we got to talk about for just a second is this Georgia law that, because video surfaced over the weekend where there is a man and there is speculation that it might be Arbery, that it might be him. Yeah. That's kind of peering into an unoccupied
under construction, a home that was under construction. And we'd heard that described on the 911 calls as well.
Right. So now the issue is what they're saying is that they saw this, that somehow that they think this might have been the same guy that committed burglaries in the area or that he was trespassing there. And that's why they gave chase. The law in Georgia says that a citizen can make a citizen's arrest for a misdemeanor or a felony. So theoretically, I suppose you could say, even if it's trespassing, that's a misdemeanor, so they could do it. But if the person flees or leaves, you can't give chase unless it's a felony.
Right.
And the trespassing is a misdemeanor. And I don't know where they're saying, oh, well, we just assumed it was the guy who was committing the burglary, but the trespassing is a misdemeanor. Right. That would not give them, I don't know if Derek's listening, but I don't believe that would give them any right to even give chase and subdue him.
Because now the burglaries that they suspected that he was the guy behind them, and I don't know where they get that information from, but they did say that on a 911 call.
Glen Brunswick Communications, Operator Smith.
Hey, I live out still storage.
Okay.
Break-ins out here. There's a guy in the house right now. It's a house under construction.
Okay, do you have your address or the other house's address?
Right at 219 or 220 Satilla Drive.
And you said someone's breaking into it right now?
No, it's all open. It's under construction. And he's running right now. There he goes right now.
Okay, what is he doing?
He's running down the street.
Okay.
Back into the
Okay, that's fine. I'll get them out there. I just need to know what he was doing wrong. Was he just on the premises and not supposed to be?
Stuff on it. And he's been caught on the camera a bunch before at night. It's kind of an ongoing thing out here. The man that's building the house has got heart issues. I think he's not going to finish it. So.
Okay, that's fine. And you said it was a male in a black t-shirt?
A white t-shirt. Black guy, white t-shirt. And he's done running back into the neighborhood.
Okay, and...
Up front yard.
Hello. 911, what's the address of emergency?
I'm out here at Satilla Shores. There's a black male running down the street.
Where at Satilla Shores?
I don't know what street we're on. Stop, what's that? Is it? Stop. Travis!
Sir, hello, sir. Sir, where you at? Hello? Hello?
I mean, it feels like this modern day lynching. That's what it looks like. And that's certainly what it feels like. I got to tell you something. It is as hard to watch the 20th time as it is the first time. It is.
Yeah. Well, the guy who actually recorded that video has now come forward. His name is William Bryan. You've probably heard his name. He's been mentioned as a possible third suspect in this because he was following behind and watching this, and there was some thought that maybe he was involved. He has spoken out for the first time, spoke to our affiliate down in Jacksonville, and this is what he says. He's denying any involvement, and he says he's now fearing for his own life.
Complete shock. I've never been involved in anything like that before. Complete shock. I am not feeling safe at all. I haven't felt safe in at least 3 to 5 days now. I had nothing to do with it. I'm trying to get my life back to normal, and it's been smeared for the last week. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. I mean, if that's what they wanted to do was scare me, they've scared me.